What is your official title?
Mathematician and game designer.
Okay, so here's a question. Is there a formula for the frequency of bonuses?
We calculate what the frequency is, but each game has their own frequencies depending on the flavor of the game and the volatility of the game.
So when you do the math on it, let's dispel a myth, right? The long-term payback is just mathematical formula over millions and millions of spins.
Yep.
It's not in a day. It's not in a month.
Correct.
And okay,
It's like if you flip a coin 100 times, you expect 50 heads and 50 tails, but sometimes you'll get 60-40, and the next time you'll get 40-60. And long term, it'll average that, but...
Yeah, the averages are the averages. For Class 2 with the bingo base, is there a different methodology applied to slot design?
Not to the design. We definitely want both styles of slot machines to feel the same. So even though they're different, we want them to feel the same.
Are jackpot probabilities based on the amount of money inserted?
No, just the amount.
And just the same likelihood of winning a jackpot on the first spin when you put money in and 200th spin. Every spin is independently. Does the RTP scale with the denomination?
No.
Because of Class 2?
More to business decision. It's easier to usually keep the same RTP at all bet levels regardless.
Okay, that is an interesting answer.
If we were to change it, we would have higher RTP for higher bets. We would never punish the player for betting higher, but in general, we usually keep it flat.
Okay, so that's an interesting. So if you play nickels or dimes versus pennies, the RTP does not change. Unless there's some additional feature for betting max credits. What are the odds of getting all three bonuses at the same time? It's a random occurrence?
It depends on the game. That's not something we can disclose for this game, but
okay.
It is the hardest thing to get, obviously, and it pays the best.
Yeah, well, let's see what happens when we get it. But it's part of the natural occurrence of paybacks, right? Obviously, it's a bigger win. It's going to be harder. Another question. This is a good question. How did you get into slot development? Were you a slot player before you did it?
I was. My mother got me into slot machines. I was already a bit of a gambler with some poker and blackjack, but I really enjoyed the gaming process. I moved to Las Vegas about 10 years ago and started making games after that. I'm big into math and design, so it's really the perfect job for me.
What games have you worked on previously that they might know?
The most famous game I've worked on that you might know is the original Dancing Drums for Light and Wonder Scientific Games.
So the original Light and Wonder, what did you do in that role?
Just the math for that one.
You did the math.
Drums, I did the math for it.
So you were responsible for getting the mini every time when you would sit there and do that, huh?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, this is a good question. Since you're a mathematician, can you count cards?
I can.
You can? Okay, there we go. What's the thought behind the natural occurring bonus versus the shake? Is there a thought behind having the shake versus the natural occurring?
Yeah, it's mostly as a form of celebration, and it occurs usually between 1 and 3 and 1 and 2 features in most games industry-wide.
Okay.
You'll get that celebration beforehand. In some games, we'll have it be more character-focused, where the character will influence the game itself.
Yeah. Okay, so you're saying that, so let's talk this through. We're going to have a little slot talk here. So when you push the spin button, the random number generator determines that you're getting a bonus. And then it instantly tells, do we want it to be naturally occurring or do we want to do the shaky?
Yes. Now, the shaky is still a form of naturally occurring. It is telling you before the real land
that you're something, okay.
It still would have happened regardless.
Yep. So it's not, you triggered the bonus based on the math, and it's how it's presenting it to you to build excitement.
Exactly.
It's there to build excitement. So essentially, let's say if the shaky occurred, you triggered, you push the spin button, it says you get the triple pop. However it displays to you, it happens to be, that's how it chose to display the outcome.
So either it'll show you all 3 pots popping naturally, or the monkey will start freaking out and celebrating the fact that something good's about to happen.
Okay.
You don't know how good yet until you get all 3.
Okay. And can the grand jackpot be won on any bet amount?
Yep.
Okay, so it can be won on any bet amount.
More likely at higher bets.
More likely. So can you explain that a little bit? Yeah, explain how that works.
This is pretty simple. Whatever your probability of hitting a jackpot is at, let's say, min bet, if you're betting double, your probability is now double. If you're betting triple min bet, your probability is now triple. If you're betting 10 cent denom, that's 10 cents higher, or 10 times higher, your probability is 10 times higher.
I don't think I knew that.
So if you're doing 80 credits and then you go to 80, it doesn't guarantee anything, but you have a 10 times better chance of winning a jackpot.
I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either. See, we're looking at.
That's cool.
Okay, so did you guys realize? I did not realize that. Is that for most slot machines?
The jackpot thing?
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. In many places, it's law that's required.
Really?
Okay, we're learning stuff here.
Wow.
We are learning stuff here. I had no idea that was the case.
We kind of touched on it earlier, but the major is not linked between games, so you'll definitely want to check which game has the highest major.
So as we look at that, the 752 on the machine we played, this one has not gotten played yet, and it's at 750. But let's clear this myth up. This one's 752.88 versus 750. It does not mean it's going to hit sooner. It means if you do hit it, you win more money.
Correct.
So if you have that's at $7,000, that doesn't mean it's going to hit any sooner.
Not necessary.
It means when you win, it's going to be higher.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
Does it max out eventually on this game?
So the jackpot never maxes out on this. Do button slappers affect the outcome of the game?
No.
It does not. Yeah. That's always a frequent question. There's a question from initial task of getting the slot machine. We want to design a new game. What's the typical process? How long does that take?
It can take anywhere from 6 months to over a year, depending on the processes. It starts with the game design, goes to math, goes to art, animations, sound. It's an entire team effort. Testing.
Okay.
We've got engineers.
This game took about 8 months to build. I have another question for me as a Class 2 person. Does changing the bingo card do anything?
Let me answer that with a question. If you were to shuffle a deck of cards because you're about to play poker, and you give it one extra riffle, did it do anything?
No.
Then
I like that answer. I know the answer to this, but I want to hear it directly from you. The size of the pot really doesn't matter, does it?
Correct. The size of the pot tells you how long it's been since the last bonus.
Okay.
Not necessarily how close you are
So
to the next
the
bonus.
size of the pot shows you how long it's been since the bonus has occurred. It does not increase the likelihood that you're going to get the bonus, but it doesn't mean that it's due to hit. So the bigger the pot does not mean it's going to hit. But it does tell you it's been a while since it's hit, but it doesn't mean... I learned that the first machine that I learned that on, where I chased and chased and chased, was a certain game you worked on previously, where I sat there like, that pot is gonna open, it's gonna go.
The nice lesson there, though, is if you ever approach a game where the pots aren't full and you really want to play it, go play it. Your odds are the same.
Yeah, the odds are the same, and the bonus can hit. We've seen it back-to-back spins. Does rapid fire change it? No, rapid fire makes it so you get more spin opportunities. That's the positive way of saying it. I appreciate you guys being here so much. Appreciate everything Eclipse does, and you guys, Muckleshoot is an amazing casino. If you're not been, you got to be there. So everybody, thank you so much for being here, and we will see you later. Goodbye, everybody.